So I use a Sony A7C as my only camera for wildlife photography and videography, and that's what I'm filming this on right now, actually. And I've been asked, how is it? Because that is not what this camera is designed to do. So I wanted to make a video describing how I like the Sony A7C, the pros and the cons for using it in wildlife photography and videography. And then that might help somebody out there that's considering this camera for themselves. Because it does have a lot of perks. It's a very affordable camera and the form factor is awesome as well. But there's also some drawbacks. So let's get into that. Hey everyone, I'm Malcolm Owenflood. Thank you for checking out the video. I wish I could just hold the Sony A7C while I made this video because it would be awesome to have it in my hands while describing it. I'm sure that would help me remind stuff, but I needed to use it to film this video. So I've got a little notepad that's gonna help me with my little bullet points as we go through it. And I think we're gonna start with just the form factor. I went and tried and held the Sony A7R5, the kind of newest offering from Sony, and it was so much larger. I actually couldn't really believe it because I'm so used to the Sony A7C. I gotta say, for the size of my hands, I have, I don't know, decently large hands. A fuller, bigger, large camera was a better fit for me. I found that being able to hold that, it just fit my hand way better, and I loved that. But on the flip side, the Sony A7C is so lightweight. It is really great for when I'm hiking around all day with that camera on, either in my hands or on a strap. It's pretty lightweight. And when you consider how big the Sony 200 to 600 millimeter lens is, or other equivalent wildlife lenses, the weight does add up. So I think that there is a serious pro to how lightweight this camera is for trekking and expeditions. By the way, this is Beasley here. If you haven't met the cat before, there's another cat, but she might not come into the video. Another thing that's really great about the Sony A7C is that it is excellent in low light. And really all modern Sony mirrorless cameras are fantastic in low light. So I guess that's nothing new, but it is worth thinking about because with the aperture on these larger lenses and the shutter often having to be quite high, especially if you're handheld, being able to have good low light performance is definitely a very helpful thing. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with really noisy videos and photos, and we don't want that, of course. Now, what might be the biggest con about the Sony A7C for wildlife photography in particular is that it is a 24.2 megapixel sensor, which is fine if you don't have to crop. If you need to crop your photos in the edit, you don't have that much room to play with due to this megapixel count. It's not terrible, but it's also not great. So I wouldn't say that this camera is very optimized for cropping. And with wildlife photography, I would say cropping's a reality. This is definitely a big drawback. It's what I think about the most when I consider upgrading. When I'm looking at an A7 IV or the new A7R5, I'm like, oh, the crop ability with those higher megapixel sensors would probably be kind of a game changer. But on the other hand, much more expensive. That all said, I am very happy with a lot of the photos I've gotten with this megapixel count, even with the crop mode. So if I use the ASPC mode and crop in to get a kind of closer reach to the animal I'm shooting, I still can pull off some photos that I'm very happy with. It all is kind of light dependent and distant dependent as well. So if I can use the crop mode on the camera and know that I'm not going to have to crop in the edit, it works. But if I use the crop mode and then try and crop in the edit, it's kind of a disaster each time, and I end up having to do too much denoise stuff in the edit, and that starts looking weird. Not very happy with that. So really, if there's one thing that would make me say this isn't a camera to get, if wildlife photography in particular is what you are most concerned about, I think you should consider a camera that has a higher megapixel count. That said, I think it's kind of going to be unique what everybody likes and doesn't like and wants and prioritizes. For me, that is the thing that's making me want to upgrade the most, but I'm not in a rush to because I am happy with the photos I'm getting as well. One thing that I really love about this camera is the battery life, especially when I'm doing photography. It lasts all day. I think I've had one shoot day where we were hiking, literally from first light to dark, and I had to do a battery change in there, but I was doing a lot of video on that. And other days when I've just been mostly doing photography, it's not a concern. You're gonna get the day. So if you have 2 batteries, you're covered. Real quick, I do wanna say thank you to all the new subscribers I've gotten recently. It's been really exciting seeing how fast this channel is growing. This is like a side passion for me, this wildlife stuff. So I didn't expect this at all. I've got another channel where it's all pro audio, like DIY recording and mixing related, and that's a large part of my profession, what I do for a living. So seeing this side of things take off is just, it's great to share my excitement with other people and see people reciprocate that and be excited as well. So thank you all for subscribing. Totally appreciate it. And if you're enjoying this video, do give a thumbs up and let me know where you're from and stuff in the comments. I love connecting with all these people that are also into this. Now I think to wrap this up and kind of give a conclusion on, is this a camera you should buy for wildlife photography? I don't think it's the ideal camera for wildlife photography, honestly. But I do think it is the perfect prosumer level camera for somebody that wants a hybrid camera. So if you want to not spend crazy amounts of money and go with something that can do good video and good photos, I think this is the perfect camera. It's small, it's light, it's affordable, relatively, of course, but I think it does give you a lot for that price. If you want to just buy once, cry once, you probably should go further and look for, I think, either the A7 IV or the A7 R5, or I mean, if you've got unlimited money, go with the A1, why not? There's always going to be a better option, but this is a good entry point and I've been really happy with it. And I know that when I do buy another camera, I'm not going to sell this one. I'm going to keep it as a B cam, or maybe I'm going to keep it as my primary video camera and get something more photocentric. I haven't really figured out which way to go, but I don't think I'm going to sell this. I think I'm going to keep it so it doesn't feel like money wasted. I'm quite happy with it. And when you pair it with something like the Sony 200 to 600 millimeter lens, you've got a solid piece of kit there. You're going to get great shots. It's all about just getting out there and trying to get them. That is how you get good shots. It's not really the camera. People were getting good wildlife camera shots with like the first rendition of mirrorless cameras when that technology was brand new. So there's not really an excuse to think, oh, I don't have enough megapixels to get good wildlife shots. You do. You just have to get out there and get in position and have a lens that can reach them, and you'll be fine. Again, I thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this helped you if you are considering the Sony A7C. I've got a link in the description to this camera if you do think it's right for you. It's perfect for this kind of YouTube stuff. Loved it for that. That's why I originally got it. And then being able to do wildlife stuff was like a bonus. I was like, oh my God, I can just get a lens and I can go do that now. Finally, I can take this hobby up, and just, I felt so in love with it. So yeah, if you're enjoying this, give a like and subscribe and follow along. We got tons of great videos coming up. I'm going to be showing off a new drone and how I'm kind of getting closer to nature with that, which might sound confusing. Gimbal stuff, lenses, the whole 9 yards. I am in so deep with this camera stuff. I can't even believe it. Okay, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye. Hey everyone, I'm Malcolm. My cat just bailed into the tripod running out of the bathroom. I don't know what to say. Okay, let's readjust.